After all, you don't pronounce the asterisks. Hello to my beautiful tchotchkes. Welcome to another episode of the Cha-Cha Beat. I hope that everyone is feeling great today, greater than I am. My face hurts. We've had some very dry weather in California this winter. It hasn't really rained at all, and I don't fare well in this very dry weather. I do not have a moisture barrier that I can grow on my own. I'm working on it, even though I have not been feeling great the past couple days, and my production has slowed because of it. It was already slow, and then I started to not feel well, and it got even slower. But we're trying to not let it come to a dead stop. And for that, we've got to turn on the camera and start talking. Today, I have something a little different for you. It's funny to say a little different because this is like the third episode of the Cha-Cha Beat. And I think each one has been a little different, but we're trying to figure out what feels good, what sticks, throwing that proverbial spaghetti at the wall. And today we have a different type of spaghetti. We're going to venture further into the chachaverse than we have thus far. I'm sure you are not aware that prior to starting this YouTube sensation of the Cha-Cha Beat podcast, I have been saying for years that I am a writer. I am a writer. I love to write. I'm good at writing. I would like to think I express myself well through writing, and I've always wanted to be a writer. This past year, I was finally built my life circumstances to allow me to be a writer. I now, for the first time in my life, had a stable living place. I've lived now in this house with Justin for 6 years, and it is the longest I have ever lived anywhere since I lived in my parents' house, which, now that I'm thinking about it, we moved when I was in 8th grade. So I really have not lived anywhere longer than 6 years since before 8th grade. I guess I technically still lived in my parents' house when I was going to college and all of these things, but I wasn't like living there full time. So I have a steady place to live. I had a steady job and steady income. I was working from home, which allowed me the time that I used to spend in traffic or, public transportation at the end of the day. I now am, poof, work's done, and I'm at my little creative studio and I'm able to write. And in that experience, I learned that while I do love to write, it can't be like all I do because it's very quiet and a little boring. And, I just get in my head. This is much more interactive, theoretically, hypothetically, potentially more interactive once I have some more interaction. Sometime over the summer, I had the idea that it is time. I'm going to take this party onto YouTube, and we're going to transition from a writer into a film star. No, I don't like that. Into a more multimedia cha-cha experience. I have not been writing a lot in the past couple months. I've been really focused on this. Even though the output at this point has only been a handful of videos, I'm pretty proud that I have created those handful of videos. The beginning learning blocks are definitely the trickiest to lay. And we're here now. So like the hard part's over, right? Right. Yesterday, as I was doing just a regular writing, brainstorming, daydreaming session that I do, I randomly thought of this essay that I wrote a couple years ago. Maybe it's because I was thinking about reminiscing about moving to California and the timing of it all. I moved to California in 2013 when I was 29, almost 30. And part of that is because I decided to stay in New York for grad school versus going to San Francisco for a similar program. I don't remember the school at San Francisco, but I decided to stay in New York. And I guess maybe that kind of triggered this thought process. I was inspired to go back to my Cha Beat blog beat and look up an essay that I wrote a couple years ago entitled Why Free College is a Fucking Horrible Idea. I read through the first couple paragraphs and got like pretty charged up about it. So I thought it might be fun to bring it to the Cha Beat podcast. And so without any further ado, let's dive into the chachaverse. Why free college is a fucking horrible idea. A cha blog beat. We are fifth graders being shuffled into the auditorium for a special assembly. Today is the final debate before we all return to our classrooms and scribble our votes for class president onto small pieces of paper that we will fold in half as many times as we can, just for fun, before slipping them through the slit of the wooden ballot box. Today is the candidate's last chance to get our attention. Pizza Fridays, the first candidate promises. Free Pizza Fridays, ups the second. Free college, says the third. Our 11-year-old ears perk up. Free college? We like the sound of that. But I am not 11. I am 35. I am 40. I wrote this 5 years ago. So I stand up in this hypothetical assembly and yell out, free college is a fucking horrible idea. Everyone gasps. Not because I said fuck. Every fifth grader has at least heard the word if they haven't already started saying it themselves. They gasp because free college sounds not only awesome, but necessary and fair. I have several reasons why I am against free college. Now I'm standing on my soapbox. Can you hear me? Good. Let's begin. 1. From what I understand, our public school systems are a fucking disaster. This is not a research paper. I don't have the desire nor the obligation to include facts and stats to back up this claim. If you're interested, do some research. Giving away free college is like adding expensive rungs to a wooden ladder that has termites. Sure, now you can climb higher, but without a good foundation, you're fucked. Maybe I'm wrong, and free college in practice will be conditionally free. Simply graduating from high school won't be enough. College tuition dollars will be reserved for students with a good foundation. Yes, before you get free college, we the people will confirm your math, reading, writing, and verbal skills. If you don't have the skills, you don't get free college. I am 100% against standardized testing. The idea of being standardized is offensive to my core. Luckily for me, I'm not a politician promoting free college. I don't need to identify the solutions. As an American, it is my duty and my right to identify the problems. But I'm still not convinced that our valuable tax dollars will be put to good use. Okay, how's this? In order to get free college, you must explain what you desire to study and why. You must articulate how your tax dollar funded education will enable you to give back to society. You must prove yourself to be focused, driven, and dedicated to something more than beer funnels and toga parties. That's what college is all about, right? You must submit a 5-year career plan illustrating the necessity of an official college degree. Perhaps when Elizabeth Warren says, I have a plan for free college, there is an asterisk in her statement, an asterisk that promises to prioritize our K-12 public school systems, An asterisk that explains the requirements high school students will have to meet in order to receive the free college. Perhaps Elizabeth Warren isn't as fucking stupid and fiscally irresponsible as her talking points make her sound. After all, you don't pronounce the asterisks. 2. We are living in the age of free information. Even the homeless people have smartphones. In 2024, information is not only free, but literally at our fingertips. Gone are the dark ages when you'd have to travel, perhaps for days, perhaps by horseback, to visit a library or to engage in an intellectual debate with a mentor or a fellow student. In 2024, a young person who aspires to be a marketing executive, for example, doesn't say, if I went to college, I would study marketing, but I can't afford college, so I guess I'm shit out of luck. That young person takes out her phone and Google searches until she finds a syllabus, Marketing 101. She screenshots the curriculum for future references and gets to work on the first reading assignment. Maybe she will never have an official degree, but if she becomes a marketing genius, who the fuck cares? What about the classroom experience, you say? To that, I respond with chats, forums, FaceTime, Meetup, Skype, Facebook groups. If you want a classroom experience, you can create one. Take field trips, assign readings, invite guest speakers. Virtual connections exceed what is possible within the finite walls of a college lecture hall. Why limit yourself to one professor per subject when you can learn from the World Wide Web of scholars and experts? Take advantage of the public domain. Stop paying for textbooks in 2024. The internet is free college. In 2020, all works published in the United States prior to January 1st, 1925 are in the public domain. In general, works published after 1977 fall into the public domain 70 years after the death of the author. Corporate works, anonymous works, or works for hire enter the public domain 95 years from the date of publication or 120 years from the date of creation, whichever expires first. By now, you're probably thinking, this college-educated chick sounds like a privileged bitch. Which brings me to my third reason why free college is a fucking horrible idea. 3. Free college is like dating a chick who always gives it up at the end of the date. You're guaranteed to score, so there's no real incentive to try. In other words, it's hard to appreciate something when you know it's a sure thing. When I was 17, I was neither responsible nor self-aware enough to know what I wanted to be when I grew up, let alone what I should study to achieve that goal. When I was 17, I knew two things. I was a good writer, which is how I managed to keep my high school grades up despite having never completed a reading assignment, but that's another story. And I liked smoking marijuana. When it came time to making decisions about my college education, I didn't. I chose the college my high school crush went to. He was a year older. I majored in religion to make my parents happy. Also, another story. And I minored in philosophy. Past the marijuana. 4 years later, I graduated with honors and no fucking idea what to do next. My guaranteed score of a college education aided and abetted my delayed maturation into a responsible professional adult. I'm not proud to admit this. It makes me sound like a privileged bitch. But if this admission encourages just one person to reconsider the utilitarian good of universal free college, then here's a stick. My ego piñata is ready for the beating. 4. Free college teaches our youth that college is a prerequisite for success. And that is some fake fucking news. My boyfriend, now fiance, is a business owner. He is the boss of about 10 employees and growing. He has 7 vehicles, 5 work vans distributed amongst his employees, one very sexy Ford F-150 pickup truck with an 8-foot bed, and one also sexy black Mercedes. My man is a homeowner, owning real estate in one of the most expensive zip codes in America, about 1 mile from the Pacific Ocean in Southern California. He also has a smart, beautiful, and talented girlfriend, fiance. Do you know what my man doesn't have? A college education. Plumbing Hacks and Plumbing Professional Discussions is a private Facebook group consisting of 32K plumbers. That might be more, as this was written several years ago. New members must request to join. Only plumbers are approved. Chances are you're not a member. So to argue my fourth reason of why college is a horrible idea, I have included an excerpt from the group's page. Here is the original post followed by my man's reply. We'll look at both, and then you tell me why the fuck we are telling our kids that college is the only path to success. Original post. How did you guys come across plumbing? Was it a family trade, or did you just happen to come across the job? Because I'm sure none of you grew up wanting to be a plumber. I just got out of high school, and my buddy from the gym told me about how sweet his job was. I called his boss, and here I am 2 years later with a house, a kid, and 2 vehicles. Best choice I ever made. My man's reply. I chatted with the drain guy that came to my house when I was in high school. After I graduated from high school, I saw him where I was working delivering pizzas, and he offered me a job. They weren't even hiring, but he was impressed with my work ethic. I started working doing drains for him. After 4 years, I had enough side work to go out on my own. I learned plumbing by saying yes to jobs that I had no idea how to do. I bought a book at Home Depot and started, oh my God, it's so cute. I bought a book at Home Depot and started small with fixtures and simple service jobs. Eventually, I took on more and more. Now I have my contractor's license, 6 guys, 5 trucks, and office staff, not to mention a smart, beautiful, and talented girlfriend. I added that last part. Say fuck again, one of the 5th graders yells. Yeah, the rest cheer. Has anyone listened to a single word I've said? All right, well, I feel like that was a lot. That's all I got. So I feel like that was a lot. I also think that it might be impossible to listen to that without any kind of reaction. So if you did listen and you do have any thoughts or reactions, you agree with me or you don't, I would love to hear what you think in the chat. So don't be shy, but do be respectful. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next time on the Cha Cha Beat.
Cha cha cha.